So here's my definition of intention: getting clear on what you want. That's it. So now, it sounds really easy, like to get clear on what you want. The problem is that when the analytical mind gets overdriven by the hormones of stress, we start thinking, I want this, but then I need it on this condition, so it can't affect this person, and I don't want to lose that. And if this occurs, then this is going to occur for this, and that's not intention. The universe doesn't work like that. Intention is, you may say, I want a healing. I want a new job. I want a new relationship. Now, the moment you ask the question, the what if question, what would it be like to be in love? What would it be like to have a new job? What would it be like to be in a new relationship, to do whatever, to be healed? The moment you ask that question, the part of your brain called the frontal lobe, which is the crowning achievement of the human being, 40% of your brain is the frontal lobe. It's the workshop, it's the creative center. The frontal lobe has connections to all other parts of your brain. The moment you ask an open-ended question, you speculate a possibility. The creative center turns on and it looks out over the landscape of the entire brain and begins to call up different networks of neurons that are stored in your brain based on something you've learned intellectually, knowledge, or something you've experienced in your life. Like, well, I know what it is to be in love, or I know what it is to have a good job, or I read a book about it. And it begins to call up these different networks of neurons, and then it seamlessly pieces them together to create a new idea, a new vision. And when you put all those networks together and they fire in tandem, you'll get a clear picture in your mind. And that clear picture is called intention. Now, the more you have conditions, or the more you have specifics about that job, like, for example, I want to make this amount of money more a year, I want to have health benefits, I want to have 3 weeks vacation, I want to travel, I want to work with great and unlimited creative people. That all is the elements that help to add to that vision. Now, the picture you get in your mind could be the letter the word job, or it could be just an image that's personal to you. But the image then represents all of those conditions. So you can have several conditions that make up your intention. But the intention typically is a symbol. Like, you may see a retreat center that you may want to start, and you have a picture of it. But once you see that picture, the next thing that happens, you start to live that dream. The moment you start to take that dream and it turns into a living motion picture, now you're in that imaginary place. And what happens is, the moment it starts taking on form, and it starts taking on time, you start to experience it and all the things you're going to do, you're actually living in that future, and your brain does not know the difference between the actual event that takes place in your life and what you're imagining in your mind. We call it mental rehearsal in my work, but you're literally rewiring yourself to the future. Now your brain is no longer a record of the past. It's now, in fact, a map to the future. Now, most people stop at this level, but there's another level. Because once you have that intention, and I watched you do this, what makes the intention have life is when you combine it with that emotion. Why? Because your body is your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you're fabricating by thought alone. So your body now, as the unconscious mind, is living in that future in the present moment, and you're beginning to epigenetically change your cells in preparation for that event. So then here's the condition, the caveat. That means then you can't wait for your healing to feel wholeness. You have to feel wholeness for your healing to occur. That means you can't wait for your new relationship to feel love. You have to feel love so your relationship finds you. It means you can't wait to have your new job to feel empowered. You have to be empowered by the thought of your new job. So we're switching the model around, because most people wait for something outside of them, right, to change how they feel inside of them. And when they feel better inside of them, they get relief and they say, I like you, you helped me with that. That's cause and effect. That's the old model of reality. What we're talking about here in the quantum model is cause and effect, which means then you are going to have to change how you think and how you feel.
So have you ever heard me say that emotions are bad?
Have you?
No.
No, emotions are the end product of an experience. So then, do I react in my life? Yep, I do. But the question is, how long are you going to react? That's the real question. Because if you keep that emotional reaction going on for an extended period of time, sooner or later it'll become your identity. And then people say, why are you so bitter? Why are you so frustrated? Why are you suffering so much? And your brain, in that emotion, you're in the emotion, which means you're in the chemical residue of the past, is going to call up the event because you're emotionally connected to it. And you're going to say, I'm this way because of that past experience. So then, imagine what I do with people. We have people that have been abused. We have people that have been traumatized, that have been assaulted. We have people that have had very, very difficult pasts. And have you ever heard me say to revisit the event? Have you ever heard me say that? Never do we need to revisit the event, because once you do, you open the box. But what we want to do is overcome the emotion, because that's just what's lasting from the event. So you sit a person down, and the moment you sit them down, what do you think the body is going to do? It's going to look for something to recreate that emotion, because that's the person's identity. Are you with me still?
Yes.
So if I make the person, if I inspire the person to sit there, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden they're noticing that they're hot, and they're irritated, and their stomach is twisting, and all of a sudden it's a group of sensations, a group of feelings that they have called all along frustration. But the different sensations, the moment you name it, it becomes an emotion. But what it is just bodily sensations. It's energy that's stuck in the body. So the body is looking to go back to the past. It's believing it's in the past. Are you with me still? So if the person becomes aware that their body is doing that, and like training an animal, allow the body to feel that emotion and then settle it down into the present moment. When you settle it down into the present moment, the body starts to trust the present moment and move out of the past. And there's a release of energy. Then the body goes, wait a second, what's going to happen the next moment? And it starts doing that. And it starts to try and anticipate the future. And you settle the body back down into the present moment. And every time you do that, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and your will is getting greater than the program. And all of a sudden you start to lower the volume to that emotion. And when you begin to break the addiction to that emotion, the side effect of breaking that addiction is called joy. It's called freedom. All of a sudden the body's saying, I don't want to be tormented anymore. Now, does that mean you shouldn't grieve over things that you lose? Grieving is a biological process. It's neural pruning. It's a death of circuitry. It's a death of emotions. It's the absence, a void of something in your life. And that's important, but in grief, sooner or later, you got to come to a greater understanding about death, a greater understanding about loss, a greater understanding so that you can adapt to those conditions. Every time I sit with someone and they start complaining about their life, and I let them go for a few minutes, and then I go, oh. You know what I say to them? You only complain about your life when it's not working. And the emotion that you're feeling right now is keeping you connected to the past. You never do this when your life is working. And so I don't have a problem with moving through the stages of emotions. But I also know that what a person really wants more than anything else is to be free. People want to be free, and I have witnessed transformation on every culture, on every skin color, every shape, every size, every age. I've witnessed it, and the same radiance that takes place in a person's face, a light behind their eyes, a different physical presentation of their face is eminent, it's real. And that person has worked
to overcome themselves. And so it's not that we shouldn't feel emotions. We should feel those emotions and feel them completely. And like a child, get over it though, and just let it out and then go. When we witness people analyzing their life within some disturbing emotion on the brain scans, over and over again, we saw their brain getting worse. Just worse. And I would go, excuse me, Hector, what the hell were you doing in there? Oh, I was just caught up with my ex and the kids. And well, yeah, I want you to know that that's making your brain worse. And so then when they start reasoning that, and they understand, I'm not going to give them the answer to their problems, because when a person is suffering, what are they looking for? They're looking for me to take them out of their suffering, and I can give them the answer, the correct answer to their problems, and they will argue against me. They will argue the entire time. No, but. Well, and know what I don't. I just say, take the ride with me. Give me 4 days. Give me 5 days. Cross the river. Get beyond yourself and get beyond that emotion. And the memory without the emotional charge is wisdom. And that's the name of the game, because the soul can't go to the future, can't create a new adventure, can't journey back to source if you're living by some emotion that's keeping you in the past. The soul doesn't even know what to dream about. It can't, because it's seeing the future through the lens of the past. So then when the person starts coming up against themselves and they're sitting there and you say you create your reality, all right, well then I'm going to have a thought about what I want, but they can't control their thoughts. That's because their body's influencing their mind. So the only way they're going to begin to liberate energy is to be still and to know that they're God, to be greater than their body. And every time they settle it back into the present moment, they're lowering the volume to that emotion, and now they become the mind, and the body is no longer the mind. And when the body is finally free, they'll see possibilities they never saw before. I've seen it.